Frawley, and I appreciate you joining me today as we look at the power behind Triage Investigator. Truly a tool specifically designed for the investigator and its ability to be paired with Digital Evidence Investigator. And for those of you who want to pass this on or want to come back, if something distracted you, there will be a video recording of this webinar available on our website. So anyways, as far as me, I'm Rich Frawley. I have been with ADF for 4 years now, and that's after my 22-year career in law enforcement. During my career, I was a one-man shop. I conducted investigations as well as forensic examinations. This pushed me in a direction of triage early on in my career in order to keep our backlog to a minimum and make those decisions up front and on scene. ADF has been committed to and a leader in the triage market for many years, and I'm pleased to be able to show you Triage Investigator today. For those familiar with our tool, please allow me a few minutes here to introduce ADF to our newcomers. So I've introduced myself. We're going to give a little bit of background on ADF, what's been going on in our tools. I'm going to give a demo, and then we are going to work right into questions and answers. So as a company, ADF has been around for about 15, 16 years now, with its technological foundation rooted in forensic triage. The early years were spent creating software specifically for image identification and analysis for child exploitation, with government agencies and law enforcement being the main drivers asking for this technology. Our immediate value as a triage tool was in providing immediate on-scene intelligence and capture of potential evidentiary information, and has since morphed into solutions that are easier to use for investigators, helping reduce backlog. What has transpired over the years has been an evolution of our technology to not merely include support for hundreds of file types and artifacts, but a better way to link all that information quicker than any other solution on the market. The theme has remained consistent in our mission statement: help investigators and examiners get to the relevant information faster. So today's webinar is going to showcase how we do this and demonstrate the timely results. ADF software products are designed to help you collect, analyze, and report on everything you need to put your case together. Our software identifies evidence, tags, correlates it for you so you can make rapid decisions. It could be a decision to make an arrest on scene, or in a triage-based approach, it could mean to take the evidence for further analysis. Our goal is to help you further your investigation with speed and accuracy. We work closely with our customers to solicit feedback and understand specific use cases. We seek to design products to help you get your job done faster and more effectively. We design our user interface based on Microsoft Fluent Framework. We combine ease of use with the ability to be highly configurable. Automated process flow helps you identify critical evidence fast and eliminates unnecessary and time-consuming noise. We identify and correlate files, user activities, artifacts, scale through large terabytes of data. You can have same-day court-ready reports, and distribute automated evidence collection and powerful analytical capabilities to the investigators. And it doesn't matter how you deploy any of the ADF tools, whether it's a booting to the computer and doing a scan, whether it's a live scan from your desktop, or whether you're in the standalone viewer doing your analysis, the interface is the same and there's no learning curve. And if you've already used or have seen DEI, then you will definitely recognize Triage Investigator and have an instant comfort level. ADF was among the first forensic software companies to combine files, artifacts, and user activities into a single timeline view. All this information is combined into a comprehensive timeline, which can be customized with many powerful filters. We give users time-based configurability, meaning we can customize our profiles to give you a quick general profile, low-hanging fruit, early case assessment, or an intermediate scan that will gather artifacts and files that will target exactly what you're looking for and allow you to continue with your investigation as soon as the scan is complete. Or a thorough scan that will pull everything and do a comprehensive analysis of the data retrieved. With that, my little graphic here, okay, with a fast triage, you have a 2 terabyte drive and it can be processed in 5 minutes. Let's take the 2 terabyte out of there. You have any drive. It's going to go through, process pictures, videos, documents that were related to the user's recent activity, process pictures, videos, and documents related to web browsers, recover, a lot of the artifacts from the apps. That could all be done in 5 minutes, regardless of the size of the drive there. Also, you take that same drive and add carving, especially for your child exploitation cases, but that same drive, you're going to do everything we did in 5 minutes, plus go through and collect and run your own hashes, run your own keywords, parse out all the emails and attachments, and also carve pictures. So comprehensive, everything from everywhere, mismatch files, and you can look at that being done in about an hour and a half to 3 hours, but when you add the carving, and it's going to take you about 6. So that's where tool's customizable and allows you to go on scene or in the lab and make those decisions up front and then move on. And we also have what I had alluded to earlier, our standalone viewer. So this viewer is the analysis portion of our tool placed onto a device that can be shared with other investigators or prosecutors. It's fully functional. You can tag, sort, filter, report, and no license is required for it. So you do a scan of a computer, grab as much information as you can, put it in the standalone viewer, hand it off to another investigator. They have the full analysis capability and reporting of our tool, and no license is required. A little bit about the process for those who haven't seen us yet, those of you who are tuning in and saying, okay, what is this tool all about? Let me kind of give you a visual lay of the land here on how it works. I am showing you the Pro version today. Not only does it do all your computer devices, forensic image files, be able to use from a USB device out in the field, but you also have the ability to scan logical iOS or Android devices. All you would need to do is connect those through the cable to your laptop or forensic workstation running our tool, and you'll be able to do a scan of that. Also, so Triage Investigator, the main portion of the tool, so the iOS add-on is the Pro part of it. It combines mobile and computer. Drilling down into Triage Investigator, you can scan digital devices. So any forensic image files you may have, anything that you have a virtual machine, you want to mount it and scan it, you can do that. Your external drives, internal drives, SD cards, micro SD cards, CDs, DVDs, USB drives, whatever you're going to hook up through your right blocker to your forensic workstation and do the scan that way. So it does get installed on your computer. You can do all the scans just like you can in any other forensic suite. You can do mobile from your laptop. Now you want to go out into the field. You're going out on a search warrant, you're going to somebody's house, you're going to a business, whatever case you may have, you're in a place that you need to do a scan portable. What we do is we prepare what we call the collection key, and you would take that collection key and the license out into the field. While you're in the field, plug that USB device. In the top, you can see here, I have a computer that is powered off. I boot to the USB device. It automatically starts our program, and you can do a scan of that computer from a boot. That's Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever you want to, whatever you can boot to, program will run, and it'll pull the evidence you are looking for. You can also use it on a powered on live Windows machine, plug in the collection key. You can scan that and anything attached to it, also collecting RAM and scanning anything that you need to there. So boot, live, out on scene from the collection key. That's that little Samsung SSD, and then that round cylindrical is your license. So we do have two devices here. We have the collection key, which runs the program, collects the devices. We have the license key. Here's why. You can prepare as many of these license keys as you want to take out into the field. True story, we had a task force going out into a business. They knew they were going to encounter about 75 computers on scene. They created 75 of these collection keys. They went into the business, plugged one into each of the 75 computers. If it was up and running, they did a live scan. If it was off, they did a boot scan. If it was up and running, they collected RAM. So they're going down the line and doing all this. When it came time to scan the computer, they put in the license, start the scan. When the scan starts, they pull out the license, move on to the next computer. So now we've collected RAM. We are now scanning each computer simultaneously with one license. They go back to the beginning of the line, look at their results, say, we don't need this computer, there's nothing on it, leave it behind. The next computer, image it, take it. Use our tool, create the image, move on to the next computer. So they were able to go through, long story, already too long of a story, try to make it short. They were able to go through this 75 computers in a day, decide which ones were coming with them, which ones were staying behind, or which ones were being imaged, which ones were not. So that gives you the ability. So now let me talk about Triage Investigator and DEI. All right. So it's designed to work together and provides a digital forensic platform where forensic labs can leverage investigators to collect and process data and analyze computers and digital devices in the field. It also enables organizations to control your search criteria that's going to be used in the field. So together you can roll out, and you can see I kind of have it here. Somebody has Digital Evidence Investigator, which is fully customizable. You can create your own search profiles. You can tell it, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to bring in my hashes, my specific keywords. They can create those and filter those search profiles down into Triage Investigator, which can be imported and used out in the field. So you have somebody who is in control of what the investigators can and cannot run. You're not leaving it up to them alone. Also with this is, it's been added in the last couple of versions. We have our config file now. So with one file, you can set all the different instances of Triage Investigator to run the same. You can hide specific profiles on there. You specifically know you're not ever going to use or you don't want them to use. They can be hidden. Specific captures can be hidden. So there are no mistakes. So it puts the power in one person's hand to control what is going out into the field. So it's that when I go out and I speak about triage to somebody who hasn't adopted the practice yet, this is one of the concerns. It's always putting this technology in the hands of the investigators who may not be that technically savvy. So keeping in mind the easy use and the choices that we leave in Triage Investigator, it gives you the power to control that and get over that one little hump that you may have. So let's get into demo. I've talked enough about background, kind of give you a visual. Let me go in here now and close that down and bring up Triage Investigator. All right. So here's Triage Investigator. You can see it is Triage Investigator Pro, which gives me not only the computer side of the house, but also the mobile side of the house. This is installed on my forensic machine. This is what you would see when you install it. This is what the investigator will see. You can scan devices and images. So I can go into scan devices and images, And you can see here my target devices pop up. So this is anything that's attached to my computer at this time. You can see I have an iPhone attached here. I will actually detach that. So you can see I took that off. I have a portable drive here with a partition called work files, another one Apollo, and I have a thumb drive here. And you can see it's BitLocker encrypted. We do have support for that. I can put in the credentials and unlock that drive, and now that drive is available for me to scan. So I have the ability to scan anything attached to my computer. I can point this towards another partition that I may want to scan, another folder, a map drive. So I have the add folder there. I just added, I'm gonna deselect that. I just added the F partition. I can add a forensic image file. So if I already have, you want to give your investigators maybe some of your backlog. You have a case coming up, there's 7 different items, devices that need to be done, you've imaged them, you can now give the images to the investigator, have them run one of the profiles against it, go through it, and help you out with determining whether it has evidence on it or not. And if it does, they can use that towards their case. And then adding a phone. So let me go over this quick while I'm in here. So on the desktop version, if I wanted to add a phone, again, this is logical only. You have to have access to the phone. You have to have the credentials. So first thing, it tells you step by step, make sure your device is not connected, and then select which device that you want to run. And excuse me here, I just lost my mouse. There it goes. So I have an iOS device, I want to run that. It makes sure that you're set in airplane mode. If it is, you hit the next button. Now it says follow these directions, turn on the device, connect it, and reconnect it. So make sure you have access to that phone and plug it in. It will go through and make sure that everything's set, that the drivers are there, that it's established a trust. If any of this needs to be done, there will be directions in the center under where it says ready. Right now it says my phone is ready. I hit OK, and now that's selected. I can scan that as well. I'm going to disconnect that and stay away from the phone. If I've made a backup of that phone, I can also point it here towards a backup and add that as well. So target, I have a lot of ability here to bring in and scan. We have search profiles. This is what the investigator will pick, and I kind of alluded to it before. We have quick, intermediate, and comprehensive. Quick and intermediate target the user profiles of the device only. So if I'm running quick or I'm running intermediate, it will parse out all the artifacts that I typically want in every case or that are listed in these search profiles. If I expand it, it gives a little example of what's being run. So it'll parse out web history, installed applications, application usage, USB history, user accounts, connection logs, operating system information, all that stuff, and it gets parsed out in the first minute or two. And then it goes in and collects files. When it gets into file collection, it only collects files from, it only targets the user profile. So that's where it's going to collect from. Let me show you an example. I picked a partition. I'm just going to do a quick general profiling. Once I select my profile, I'm going to give this a name. I'm just going to name it demo. And then now scan lights up at the bottom, and I hit scan. The first thing our tool does, as we're sitting here up on top next to progress, it says caching files. It's making a complete listing of every file and folder that's on that partition I'm scanning. So you always have that. So you do a scan, you find something, and somebody says, well, that's great, what else is on the computer? You can say, right here, here's the file listing. I can put it out in CSV and hand it off to them, and they can go through and see what else is on the computer. Once that listing's done, it starts parsing out the artifacts, which you can see it's doing right now. But I also want to point out that I have anti-forensic traces, and I have 1 hit, and remote access traces, I have 4. Those are keyword hits. So we're already running keyword hits against the file names and folder names that have been collected. And then when the parsing out of these artifacts is done, the keywords will be run against that as well. So within the first couple minutes, I'm going to have complete file folder listing, all artifacts parsed out, and a keyword search done against that information. Then we go into file collection from the user profiles. I will tell you, this scan is a little slowed down because I am doing a live broadcast and using a lot of my system resources to do that. But this is, you can see it already is fast. Within a minute, I've collected a bunch of this information. As it is collecting, I can go in and view my results. We have the view results button here. And let's say I saw enough. I knew I'm here because of anti-forensic traces, or I'm here because of remote access traces. This may be a hacking case. I have enough. I can stop my scan, and everything I've collected up to this point is in my results and ready to go in my analysis portion of the tool. I don't need to let the scan finish. I don't need to pull the plug, do anything like that. Whatever I've collected up to this point is there for me to analyze when it's done. So, and it tells me that I've stopped it with as interrupted, and I can go in and view my results. So quick overview of how the tool runs. You can see now I went to view results. I'm in the analysis portion of my tool. I can go into my pictures, videos, keywords, timeline, my file listing. I can go to any one of the captures that have completed. And it shows me in 1 minute and 51 seconds, it did all this. It was a desktop scan, and I interrupted it. So now I'm going to close this back out, and we'll move on. That's a little high overview of scanning from the desktop. I want to get into the true power and the difference in Triage Investigator here. So taking it out into the field is where this gets used a lot. So you're going out, like I said, it's a search warrant, it's intelligence gathering, it's sensitive site exploitation, DOMEX, MEDEX. You're going out, you need to collect some information on scene. You don't have the luxury of doing this in the lab. So I can go into prepare collection key. And what we do here is we have all our search profiles that we've given you, those quick, the intermediate, the comprehensive, and the mobile. And I can prepare a key and say, okay, I'm going out on a child exploitation case. I want a quick one that's going to run fast, give me low-hanging fruit, keyword hits, and a general profile of the computer. I want intermediate, which will do more, but actually pull files, all the files from the user profile, all the media, I should say, and documents. And then maybe a comprehensive if we're going to be out on scene for a long time and I do need to do something, I'm prepared at least. I could bring 1, 2, I could bring them all. I select them, I plug in the USB device that I want to use to take out into the field. You can see it just showed up here. It's CKY, that's for collection key. That's our Samsung portable SSD here. So I would select that. I would then hit prepare. What this does is it makes this USB device bootable, so we can boot to anything out in the field, Linux, Macs, Windows, and run live on a Windows machine. And it takes these profiles, puts them over there, puts the program over there so it'll run, and also formats the rest of the space for saving of the evidence or what you collect. I hit prepare and the key prepares. I can then take that out into the field, which I'll show you here in a second. Here in the lab, I can also image anything attached to the device here. So if I wanted to do imaging, if you had somebody you needed to do imaging for you, you can do that. You can review your results. Settings, user guide, we'll leave for later. So I've prepared my collection key. I am going to shut down my program here and go out into the field. So when you are in the field, what you're going to do is, I'm going to present this as if we are on a live Windows machine. I'm going to plug in my USB device with Triage Investigator prepared on it. Here I have auto run on, so it automatically opened up that key for me. But if it does not, you just go to CKY, that's our collection key. That's how you know what our device is. You open it and there's a start icon. Very simple. Click on the start icon and that will start our program. Some questions come up here. Yes, it's live. Yes, we've plugged in a USB device. Yes, we've executed the program. Yes, Windows makes changes when that happens. Doesn't matter who you are, what program you are. When you plug something into Windows, Windows makes changes. When you execute a program, Windows makes changes. What we do at this point is once we're up and running, no other changes are made, no dates, times, metadata, everything remains the same. Program comes up, you go right into collect RAM dump. Usually I don't show this because nobody needs to be looking at the line here. But what I want to get across here is the first button I hit was collect RAM dump. It automatically goes in and creates that RAM dump for you. It saves it out onto the collection key, and you can see the file name here in the blue bar or the teal bar, the date, the time, and we zip it up for you. So it's a bin file saved within that zip file. So I just save my 8.5 gigs of RAM here. I'm done with that. I now hit my home button. If I can get my mouse back, there it is. Now I'm back to the home screen. So I'm on the target machine. I've plugged it in. I've collected RAM. That all took me about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now I go into scan computer. I was talking earlier about how our tool looks the same, feels the same. So I showed you desktop. We're now doing boot, or not boot, live, but it looks the same. The only difference in this view is I now have the system drive available to me. There's that BitLocker drive that I unlocked before. So I have everything attached to the device. I have the search profiles that I put on there, and I have my scan information. So it would be the same. I pick what I want to scan. I pick the profile. I give it a name, and I start my scan. So I've collected RAM. I'm now into scanning this computer. You can see what shows up below is everything that I've asked it to scan for. It's made the listing of every file and folder that's on that partition already. It is now parsing out the artifacts for me. So just think about the power of this, or what did the investigator need to do? You gave him the profiles, you told him what he's going out to look for. He kind of knows what he's going out to look for. He's had a day of training on this tool. You go out, you start it, you collect your RAM, you run your profile, and this is what the results you're going to get. Let's say I was looking at a missing person, and the web browsing history was very important in this case. What were they looking up? Who were they talking to? Well, I've already parsed out some Skype stuff. I've already parsed out a lot of the connection logs, device information, USB history, and my web browsing history. So I can go into this and start looking at it right now. I got to it, I collected it before the family started trampling all over dates and times. I didn't have to wait for the computer to come back to me. I went to it and I collected my information. Up on top, you can see the matches pane. It is starting to collect the files. Now, in this specific case, if you've noticed up on top in my demo material, it's a child exploitation case, but we use pictures of dogs instead of child exploitation. It's easy to spot, easy to pick out, and a little easier on the eyes. So you can see a bunch of those pictures had gone across already. I can go in and view this. Like I said, I can go into view results, and I'll show you, just because I've been talking. That was 1 minute and 41 seconds. It's a live scan. It's still in progress. I've already collected 890 files plus all these artifacts, and I can go in and look at the pictures that I've already collected. This little red magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner of these pictures indicates that this picture is a hit on a keyword or a hash value. We're not running hash values, so I know they're keyword hits. I could bring up my property pane on the bottom, and it shows me the keyword that it hit upon in yellow. I have all my properties and preview. By default, we collect the image. So I know I'm talking, I put a lot of pins on my map today. I notice I have people from all over. And again, thank you. I know it's different times everywhere. But talking about laws, I know here in the US, we have what's called a knock and talk. You go in, you don't have enough for a search warrant, but you can go talk to this person and see if they will give you consent to look at their computer. You get the consent. I have these keyword hits right away. I know this computer, I can shut this down at this time. Everything I've collected is on that key for me to take back and do that. So this is where it helps. It brings these keyword hits up to the top. It's one of the first things that's collected. And like I said, in that minute and 41 seconds, I was able to do that. I can refresh my view. It's been running in the background since I've been looking at my results. So now it's up to 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and there's 2,400 files collected. And I can go back and again, look in here. I can also look at videos. And if anybody's ever done a case with video, oh, and there it says it's starting to update my database. So what that means is the scan is finished already. So in the time I was trying to say, hey, look how fast this is and look what we can look at, it finished. And no smoke and mirrors. What I was scanning was a typical user partition from a Windows machine. It was a separate partition, but it is all the files from the user partition, all the files that needed to be parsed out from the rest of the system. So there's no smoke and mirrors. That was a typical user partition that was scanned, and that's all that we targeted. So I'm still in my results where I was. We collect frames, first frame, last frame, 48 spaced out from in between. Instead of having to start, stop, and scrub, I can go through each video and kind of get a general idea of what's in each video. If there was one that I thought may have some information, not on a suspect machine, but back at the lab, I would be able to preview this as well. So on the suspect machine, like I said, I got the frames. I can see very easily what's here. Again, I kind of lost my train of thought. Let me go back to pictures. By default, let's get back to that knock and talk. By default, we collect the pictures. We move them from the computer when they're located and move them over, not just a thumbnail. So there's no post-scan analysis. You say, I want this computer, you stop your scan, those pictures are already on that drive for you. There's no need to say, go back and get these. And tagging these for a report, I'm on scene still, is as simple as selecting your pictures, putting your tag or bookmark level on them. I can change that over here in my tags. I can give it, it's level 1, 0 through 9, but I can give them a name as well, and that could be done globally. So let me go back to summary. I've come on scene, I've collected my RAM. This scan took 3 minutes and 38 seconds, typical user partition. I've got 17 files that were keyword hits, and I saw that they were child exploitation material, and I've got all this other material to work with. So I could take this back and keep my case going, not just seize the computer and wait for another full forensic to be done in a week or 2 weeks. I have information to keep going on this case. Search orders, preservation orders, arrest warrants, linking people together. We can do that. So step out, go back to the beginning, scan. I can now image this. Let's say I was on, let's say it wasn't child exploitation, it was some other case at a business where we're going to leave the computer behind, but I want to image it. I can image from this point as well. Created my RAM dump. Now I have review results. I can review, bookmark, tag, so on and so forth. One of the other things I wanted to show you too. So I scanned this computer, right? And I did that really fast. This is one of the new features, and I really, really like this. And it's been asked for, we listened. I get through these results and I'm like, oh, there may be somebody in here who's doing some trading. You know, there might be a referral here, or there's another name that we didn't have, or there's a keyword that came up in an interview. So I could say, okay, I want to do maybe my intermediate, get a little more detailed, but now I have the ability to add keywords. So let's say I was looking for a person named Delmar. I can type in Delmar's name. If I find it, that's pretty unique. I can automatically tag it, and I can say this is, a suspect in my comments. Then I pick how I want to search my keyword. Do I just want to do it against the file names and artifacts? Remember I told you before, when our system starts, it's the first two things that get done, and that's really low-hanging fruit. Or do I want to search file names, artifacts, and file contents? It's going to be a little slower, but it gives me the ability to search, and you can see below either documents or documents, internet files, and text files in the user profile, or the entire drive and deleted, or how do I want to identify these files that I want to search, either by fast identification, which is file extension only, or thorough, which does a full file header analysis. And we tell you, this is slower, this is quicker. You get to make these selections, you hit save, and now those keywords will run as part of that search profile. I love that. Love that you now have the ability to adapt and overcome on scene a little more than you did before. So on scene, I've collected my RAM, I've done my scan, I've added a keyword, I imaged if I need to, I can review results. I'm going to close this down and say, good job on scene. Now let me go back to the lab, start up my desktop version of the tool. And this will start up here in a second. All right. Back at the lab, I started up Triage Investigator Pro on my forensic machine. I've plugged in my USB device, my collection key that I used on scene. And the first thing it asks me is, do I want to back these up? So you can see where this is very easy to use, simple step-by-step instructions. And backing up the results. So I can back these up and I can review them, or I can leave them on the device and also review them from there. I am going to take one step back. You have to forgive me here. Sometimes I just talk a little too fast. I am back on scene. I am going to run this live again. I'm going to plug it back in, which you fully have the ability to do. Because I'm going to say, I'm going to be the investigator who's out there. Hey, yes, I collected the RAM. I did a scan. And they say, all right, well, there was a thumb drive attached to that I wanted you to image first. Can you image that for me? Plug it back in. I go to imaging. Here's why I want to show you the ability to be safe as an investigator. I want to image this 8 gig thumb drive that's attached. I'm going to select on that. And what you can see here, it automatically goes into connect the drive you're going to save it to. So now I take my other drive that I'm going to attach to it, and I try to plug this into my, there we go. So I attached another drive here, and it checks to make sure there's enough room on it. And now it gives me the ability to save this. So I'm going to image it as an expert witness file, or an EO1, or a DD, put in my case number, evidence number, unique description. I could say, it's the Mushkin thumb drive, 8 gig thumb drive that was unlocked. It was BitLocker unlocked. Examiner notes, verify image after imaging. So what's the big deal about that? The big deal is the investigator just needed to choose which drive and then plug in the drive that they want it to be saved to. So there's no mistake in saving it to the wrong place, saving it to the wrong partition, saving it to the wrong drive, overwriting something else. The power is in your hand. The power is, it's going to be on this drive. I am not making a mistake, because nobody's ever made that mistake. Fill in all this information, hit image, and we are off to the races, and that image gets made, saved to that destination drive that you plugged in. So that's where I wanted to kind of go with that. Ease of use, ease of selection. They do not have to make any choices about what's being collected or where's being collected. It's in the profiles that they had available to them, creating the RAM dump and imaging. Let me go back again now. And thank you for allowing me to do that. We're going to get into now just a little bit of the analysis. So I didn't back that up. I'm going to go into my review scan results. We're going to review this a little bit, and then I'm going to get into DEI and Triage Investigator as a team. You can see I did another scan here fully. Here's my demo 2. Here's another one I completed earlier. This took 8 minutes. It was a little more complex in what I was looking for. It grabbed 10,389 files, 8.5 minutes, still all the same information. Images, reference files, I'll explain those. Well, let me explain that now. So we have referenced files. What that does is it looks at all the artifacts that we've parsed out. There's 6 of them. There's peer-to-peer, email, messaging, downloads, recent file, and browser cache. And if any of the files from those artifacts, any files matched being in those artifacts, it separates them out for you and allows you to link them. So if I come into my filter and linked artifacts and I say, I want to see all the pictures that came in through peer-to-peer that are still on the system, then I can go here, peer-to-peer, and hit apply. And now there is the pictures that came in through peer-to-peer. And you can see under link for artifacts, I can take it to the individual record. Where that also works, reference files, is I am now in pictures. And I have, if you look up on top, I have 7,000 pictures here. I can go to my linked artifacts right away and say, I want to see all that have recent file entries that have been looked at, that have link files, MRU or whatever, and I can come in here and link those together too. So this was quick, and this is just some files that on a quick type low-hanging fruit, but it still gives me the ability to say, yeah, well, here's a picture. Here's where it sits in the path. So it's in a user-created path. And in my linked artifacts down here, I can see that that picture of the bulldog, or child exploitation as it may be, it came in through a download because there's a download history here, and through recent files. So the user downloaded it, the user opened it and looked at it, or there was a link file created for it, and it's sitting in a user created folder. I can also take it to our timeline, which I mentioned earlier, and I can see exactly what was going on around the time that this picture was downloaded. There's the picture and picture name. There's where the download was completed. I can step up a couple and see here's where the download was started, right? And if I look at the location, that's where the image came from. So I can see where they were visiting, where they downloaded it from, and I can go up and down in this timeline and see exactly what they were doing. Were they searching for it? Were they talking to somebody else? Were they sending emails at the same time? What other sites were they visiting? I can go into filters and build my timeline based on activities. So a little more advanced in your analysis, but you do have all this power, not only in doing your triage, but enabled to do further examination. A lot of things in there. We, dedupe pictures, we link artifacts, give you the ability to tag, as I said before. Post scan, we do classify. So this runs after the scan and it's up on your forensic machine. It goes through and classifies pictures. So there's some weapons. If I was looking for, I could turn that off. Go to my filter and do this. So visual class. So I can look for all these different types of visual classes. So a lot of power in there. Our keywords, we break down into the tables that they're found in. So like the Ares Galaxy keyword was found in browsing history. That was all in files. 3 hits in files. Here's CCleaner. So CCleaner, anti-forensic tool, where were the keywords found? Well, I have 2 hits in files. There's the file and the executable. In history, in browser cache, it was downloaded, it was installed, and it was searched for. So I know CCleaner is going to be an issue on this computer before I even get any further into my examination. My keyword list here has helped me out with that information. So I went out, let me just step back in here into this report again. I've gone out, I've looked at this, I've done my scan, I found the images that I'm looking for, I bookmark them, I can give them a comment, right? Just give it a CSAM here, add that comment to those pictures, and I can go right into reporting. Now I've been talking a lot, I've been stepping through it, but this could have been done earlier. I've scanned it, I've looked at it, I've tagged it. Anything that I've tagged is automatically placed in my report. Here's those 17 images. But I scroll through here and I say, okay, I want my operating system information as part of my report. That's all I need to do is check that. It's already parsed out for me. That will add it to my report. Maybe I want my USB history, and maybe I want my browsing history. And my browsing history, I don't want it in a column view like I'm looking at here. I may want that in list view, so it's easier for me to print out. I can change my views here. So a lot of little different things that we can do. I could take this and now export that into an HTML report. I could do that into PDF. I could do it into CSV. Like I said, the folder, if I wanted, let me change this here. If I wanted just the listing of all files and folders, I could come into CSV, select files. It'll give me the 31,833 files that are part of that partition and put them in the list. Then I also have standalone viewer. This is what I was talking about. I do the scan, I bring it back, I save it into a standalone viewer, and I hand this off to another investigator who can start going through it, do their analysis, do their reporting, all without a license. So ease, analysis, and reporting. So let's say I'm going out, I have a cyber tip, and I've sent my information up to the person who has Digital Evidence Investigator. That's the customizable version of this tool. They can bring in hashes, Project Vic hashes. Google sent me 100 images. I need those hashes in here. Digital Evidence Investigator can bring those in. I said they could bring in the JSON file. We also export all the media into JSON format, so you could bring it into a tool like Griffi if you wanted. But Digital Evidence Investigator lets you customize your case, what I'm looking for, specific keywords up front in there, specific hashes. So if I wanted that now, I can go into my settings. The person who created some profiles for me, I can go into manage search profiles, and I have a case based on the other guys, movie with Will Ferrell and Marky Mark, right? So I can go into import profile. They've made me a profile. They send it to me. I can go into my case files here, and here is my custom profile. I open that. It imports it, I hit OK, and now if I look under, here's my custom other guy's profile for me to put on a device, take out into the field and run. So I didn't need to do anything that was going to get me into trouble. Maybe it's the forensic team, maybe it's the lead investigator, whoever it is that's in charge of creating the profiles created that profile for me, gave it to me. Now I put it on the key, bring it out into the field and run it. That simple. And then when we're done with it, if they tell you, you don't want it, you don't need it after this, we're never going to run it again, you can delete that profile again. I'll come into import again, and I can pick one of the other ones they gave me. And there it is up on top, the other guys. And then I can also delete that as well if I need it. So I could bring them in from Digital Evidence Investigator. It becomes part of my search profile, and I could bring it out into the field and run those scans, all led by whoever has Digital Evidence Investigator. And again, they can send you profiles to run against specific image files on your desktop version if you want. And a lot of different, so we have our user guide, our settings, and I was mentioning before, we have all the settings that are in here are now saved in a config file. The person who is running this can configure all your Triage Investigator. Let's say you have 5 Triage Investigator users. They can configure that file, put it into the place it needs to be stored on each one of those computers, and each one will be the same. You can hide profiles. So when I go into prepare collection key, if I knew we were never going to use, I didn't want, excuse me, I didn't want my investigator doing any of the comprehensive scans, as the administrator of this and that config file, I can hide all the comprehensive so they're not there for use. So it does give you that power as well. I've kind of rambled on. I've given a high-level overview of a little bit of everything in here, to really try to explain how we can walk through it. I see there's already been one comment. Somebody really likes the new add keyword feature. I'm glad we really tried to listen to, people out in the field who are using it, because you guys know best and you know what you want. So we listened, we put that in there. And with Digital Evidence Investigator, it also, they're allowed to create a key where you can pick each individual capture instead of just having profiles. So if they wanted you to have that key, they can also give you a collection key that gives you the ability to select on scene. If anybody does have any questions, please type those in. Since I brought that up, let me show you one of those collection keys. We don't give this in Triage Investigator, and you'll see why, but if, where's my other collection key? There it is. Nope. All right. I grabbed the wrong collection key. There we go. So in here, I plugged in this collection key. Now this was made with Digital Evidence Investigator. So you can still hand this to an investigator that you're, that you've given a little extra training, or you've walked them through how captures work. So these are each of the individual things that make up a profile. I can go into scan computer here. I really love this feature as well. As much as you love the keywords, oh, it's not the one. Anyways, in the center under search profile, we would have each one of our captures in there. I do not have that prepared. I use that for Triage Investigator. Underneath search profile, you would have each individual category and each individual capture that you could turn on or off. So if you were only going in and looking at collecting maybe web browsing information, you would be able to select that, and that's all it would collect for you. So that's it. I do not see any further questions. Just a couple of things here. I have alluded to a lot of things on here. We do have a how-to section, a learn section on our website where there are smaller videos that give you individual instruction on certain places. We have a knowledge base, and we have our support team. So if this is something you were looking to try out, if this is something you are, let me get back over here. If this is looking, you can request a trial, tryadf.com. We have our how-to videos. We have getting started. It's a fully functional trial of the tool. You get 100% support along with that. And I like to say our support is second to none. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And again, if you need anything, see us through adf.com. Thank you very much.